Let's take back the word money and decriminalize it. Because until you do, you aren't going to be terribly motivated to let yourself make much. I've been broke and sad, rich and sad, broke and happy, rich and happy. And I'll take the rich version over the broke version all day long. Because money gives you freedom and options, and I really love freedom and options. Who doesn't? Hey, Queens. Yeah, you. You know who you are. God, come on. Go ahead and put that crown on your head. Now tilt a little to the left. Now a little to the right. Perfect. Now let's get to work. Because we know you got big goals. And you got big dreams and not afraid to let them know. Why? Because you step into your purpose. You speak out on your faith. And you shift up in your journey. Because you a boss. Welcome to the podcast Drop the Expiring Act with your host Belly of QueenBayGoals.com, reminding you that you are a queen before anything else. It's your life and your goals. Make it royal. All right, y'all. Go ahead and work that crown. Hey, Queen Bay. So welcome back to episode number 14 on the Drop the Aspiring Act podcast. And the intro that you just heard was an excerpt from the book You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. Hopefully I said her last name right. So let's get into it. I know a lot of people recommend to read this book if they want to talk about, money and money mindsets. But I'm going to give you the real deal. I'm going to tell you the things that I liked and the things that I didn't like and who I recommend this book for, because it's not for everybody. So let's start with the things that I don't like. The couple things I don't like. In the book, when she's writing, I guess she kind of tries to write how she speaks. So there are a lot of misspelled words, and they're not like misspelled like somebody didn't proofread, right? It's like they were purposely left in the book. Like when she says "yer" a lot, sometimes it's like "yer." I'm like, really? And then one time it was like "superstar," which you see, like how I just said "superstar." I guess it was kind of to give you that effect of the superstar, but you could have just spelled it right because we didn't need all that. And then there was like one line that I felt like it came straight out of an Adam Sandler movie. Like I was trying to find it. I thought I had bookmarked it. I didn't, but I said, you know what, we're going to go on with this episode. So I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I didn't like that part, that aspect of it. And the other thing I didn't like was when they got to the chapter that talked a lot about universal intelligence. Like, what's that? Right? Just say God if you're going to say God. But I didn't get the whole speak around it thing. Like, we're going to just call it universal intelligence and not say God. Well, I guess that's for those people who I don't know whether or not she believes in God. But I guess that's for people who don't believe in God, maybe. I don't know. But either talk about God, talk about faith, but don't talk about this universal intelligence thing and not like acknowledge that there is a God. And I think she did acknowledge that he exists. She just didn't acknowledge whether or not she believed in it. So maybe that's why she uses that term so much. Now, not all was bad. There were some good parts in the book. Like, I love the stories that were kept in the book. I mean, her personal stories and even the stories that, came from different people of different ages. I love that a lot of them were like people in their 30s and people in their 40s. A time when you think that your life is so set and you are on the way and the path that you're supposed to be on. When, life can change if you start to take action in your everyday life. So that's why we're here, because we want to drop our expiring acts and actually start doing the things that we said we want to do. And these people are showing you how they did it in their 30s and their 40s, later in life. Because, a lot of people tell you you're supposed to be starting to do all these things in your 20s, and that doesn't happen for everybody. Now, she could have kept that twat story, like, oh my gosh, that could have been kept out of the book. Somebody should have told her to keep that story out of the book. Like, let's just leave it at that. I like one of the ideas in the book, and I think I'm actually going to do this with a call on our family Zoom meeting that we have coming up. So it's about, writing a letter to money as though money were a person. So you would think of money as a person and you would write a letter on how you want to address money. You'll say hey or dare money, whatever it is, that those feelings that come up for you, and then you would just write that. I think I like that idea, and I'm definitely going to use it as an example with my family when we talk about money in our next Zoom call. The other thing I like was the exercises that she has at the end of every chapter. So at the end of every chapter, there are like some exercises that will help you with, your money mindset. If you really think all these negative things about money, but then you want money, it's like, it's not going to work unless you start changing your mindset. So definitely do the exercises at the end. And then all of them have one statement that you have to fill out, which is, I'm grateful to money because blank. And that's the one sentence that's repeated through all of the exercises at the end of the chapter. So I like that. Now, who would I recommend this book for? I would recommend it for anybody who maybe has some money mindset issues that they need to work on. This book might be able to help you with that. Like if you are not at a point where you're like maybe in investing stage, or if you already know about budgeting and banking, like if you are looking for tips on how to make money, this isn't the book for you, right? You probably need to find something else. But if you need to work on your mindset, because that's one of the first things that you need to do anyway before you even start to try to make money or try to make a whole lot of it, then you should probably read this book. So she has another book that came out, or I guess her first book was You Are a Badass. I have not read that one. I guess that was the first one, and then she came out with this one, You Are a Badass at Making Money. And I think she has another one coming out called Badass Habits. I don't know. I'll leave the links in the description below to all her books that I know are already out or are coming out in the future. I can't tell you whether or not to pick up those books. Like I said, it depends on where you are at in your own life, whether or not you're ready to drop your aspiring acts when it comes to your money story and your money mindset, because that's one of the things that you're going to need to work on if you are trying to become whatever it is that you feel that you should be in this life, whether that's an entrepreneur, a CEO, a VP, a podcast host, like me, whether you want to start running your own business, whatever it is. You have to have the mindsets in place around money, around, your own self-confidence and the way that you think about yourself. So definitely check out her other works if you think that they're for you. I'm not sure yet. I have to go look at the reviews for the other ones. The quote of the podcast, which is coming directly out of her book, is, you have to want your dreams more than you want your drama. So I'm not even going to twist that, because I love what she says. You have to want your dreams more than you want your drama. And if you're on my Instagram page, you would have probably seen me post that the other day or earlier today. Depends on when you're listening to this podcast. So it's dreams over drama. Which one are you putting first? So let's get into next week's episode. So next week we are going to be back on track, and we're talking about Queen Bee goal number... What number are we on? Number 4, live on purpose. And I know you guys are like, well, these are your episodes, right? Why don't you know the number that we're on? If you have not noticed, a lot of times I leave in like little mistakes like that in the episode. Like I don't edit them out, and I don't like redo it just so that it can be perfect for that part. And that's part of why I call it the podcast Drop the Aspiring Act, right? Because I want you to understand that, everything that you do, especially if you're doing something for the first time, it doesn't have to be perfect. There is no perfect way on doing anything. And then once you're finished with whatever that task is, it's like it's already out of your mind, out of your head. And people have this idea that, if you're getting into something new, it has to be perfect coming out of the gate. That's why we spend so much time in research mode. That's why we spend so much time comparing ourselves to other people who have been doing it forever. Like, you can't compare yourself to the person that's been doing it for 5 years, right? You can't compare yourself to the person that's been doing it for 10 years. And so what? You make a mistake when you're doing it. Pick up the pieces and move on again. I think we talked about that. I don't even remember in what episode. But the episode that we talked about in before, it's like you have to be able to make that mistake and move on. Because part of getting to your level of success is making the mistakes and then moving on. It's part of the journey, right? Everybody's journey is not going to be some perfect highway to wherever it is that you're trying to go. So don't forget to come back to next week's episode. We'll be on episode number 15. See, I know the episode number now. Next week's episode is episode number 15, so make sure you guys come back. If you are listening to this on YouTube, make sure you drop a comment below. I'll leave the links to the books that I talked about that she has in the description box below, and I will talk to you guys in the next episode. You have been listening to another episode of Drop the Aspiring Act. If you're looking for more information of this podcast and other episodes, please visit queenbaegoals.com. That's QueenBaeGoals.com. All right, y'all. I'll see you in the next podcast.